Hello and welcome to week 8 of English 120. This week, you're to complete the following assignments. Read The Valley of the Moon, Book 1, Chapters 5 through 8, and answer the study questions. Read The Bedford Researcher, Chapter 2. Complete the Launchpad Research Module, citing direct quotes. Complete the 5 exercises from my research project, which are found in Chapter 2 of The Bedford Researcher. There is no conversation this week, and I will be introducing the research perspective, which won't be due until the end of week 9. So this week you'll be reading just a few chapters of The Valley of the Moon. In these chapters, Saxon and Billy have begun courting, so that you saw in the first few chapters that they met. You saw Saxon's workplace, the sweatshop, the laundry sweatshop. You saw the difference between how Saxon perceived the world versus her friend Mary. You saw how Mary and Bert interacted as lovers versus how Saxon and Billy immediately interacted. So now we get to learn more about Billy and Saxon. Questions that I'd like you to think about, and for some of you who did your research on these topics, this will be easy. But I'd like you to know what prize fighting is. Have an idea of this is Billy's profession, and you need to know what that means. There's a chapter that really talks about Saxon's mother and what she did for a living and what she wrote. There's references to Bacchus, Pandora, and Psyche, and I'd like you to look those up. Also, I'd like you to look up, just Google these things. What is a Spanish girdle? That'll help you understand what she's talking about. Also, I want you to look up what happened at Little Meadow during the Pioneer Days. This was a huge massacre that happened, and I want you to find out that information. What does Mary think of Billy? Mary provides some advice to Saxon about what she thinks she should do. Does she think Saxon should see him or stay with Charlie Long? Remember, Saxon is dating a man named Charlie Long who is very different from Billy. How is Charlie different from Billy? I'd like you to be able to answer that. So let's talk a little bit about your research project. At this point, you should have already, through the pre-writing you did last week, discovered a topic. Now what you're going to be doing is really going in depth over the next 2 weeks into that topic. Please do not create your research perspective yet. I don't want you to work on it until next week, but I wanted to let you know what was coming. So what is a research prospectus? A prospectus is a proposal to undertake a research project. A prospectus is a statement that briefly describes the questions, materials, and methods a researcher will use in his or her research. A prospectus indicates that the research project fits the required parameters. There is a detailed explanation about writing a proposal or research prospectus in Chapter 3 of the Bedford Researcher, and we'll be reading that next week. These are the parts of a research prospectus. It contains a clear, concise introduction to the topic of the research. It states the main research questions, and you'll be developing those next week. It summarizes the basic arguments, so that's the conversation that you'll be joining that surrounds this research topic. It lists the basic research materials, so some of the sources that you're going to be looking into, and the methods that you plan on using in order to get in order to find these sources. The prospectus usually does not include the thesis for your paper. You're not there yet, but it could if you feel like you have some idea of it. But it will have the research questions you're going to be answering. How long it should be, we're going to be talking about that in a second. Just 2 to 3 pages. But more importantly, it needs to cover the basic points to assure the reader that the researcher plans a substantive project. If I read your research perspective and see that you're not really ready, I'm going to send you back to work on it some more. This is your assignment that's due on 10/19. It's worth 100 points. I'd like you to complete the following. It's 2 to 3 pages long. If you go 4 pages, it's not a big deal, but if you go 1 page, it is a big deal. So I'd like you to start with choosing a tentative title for your prospectus. This will be the tentative title for your paper. What are you researching in one sentence or less? Let that information, let that inform your title. So use the topic that you discovered in your pre-writing. Consider applicable headings for your prospectus. You should minimally have headings for an introduction, research description, procedures, research justification, and works to be cited. These headings will help you to better organize your prospectus and will help explain your research to your audience. Continue to research and then write the introduction. Give a 1 to 2 paragraph history of your topic and give a brief explanation regarding what you are proposing to research and why. Develop research questions. We will be working on this next week in our research journals, so don't develop these till next week that you plan to answer in the course of your research. Write a research description section. Give a more specific description of your proposed research. There may be some overlap with the introduction, but it will have less historical information and begin to describe the purpose of your own study. Write a procedure section. Give an outline for your method of research. Describe your proposed techniques. Answer the when, where, and how of your study. If you already have materials in mind, add preliminary works cited section. You should have some materials in mind after going through the exercises that you're going to do this week and next week. You're going to conclude and edit your prospectus, read over it, making sure that you use appropriate words and sentence structures, and you're going to proofread it. So for your research journal this week, you're going to be working on that. While you're reading Chapter 2, I'd like you to complete the My Research Project reflections that you'll see as you go in the little green boxes. Please create a plan to explore my topic, found on page 30, record your search results on page 33, manage sources in your research log on page 35, explore your topic on page 39, and choose an issue within your topic on page 44. This work will prepare you to begin working on your research perspective. You'll also be completing citing direct quotes for your research module this week. Please complete this research model before Monday at 11:59 p.m. and let me know if you have any questions. That's it for this week, you guys. I really look forward to seeing your work on your prospectus as you move forward in your research project. And I look forward to any questions you have. Please note there are no office hours this week as I am away from campus. I am at the Huntington Library doing research for my book, so I am in the papers of Jack London, which is very exciting, researching Charmian London, Jack London's second wife. So I may have some updates about that next week. All right, I'll see you guys online.